the friendship evolved since we share the same passion and values and thoughts and ideas.
Totally. I was going to say the same, actually, that we started as colleagues and then we discovered the friendship part at a later stage. And that's what I think allowed us to actually to sustain more in terms of friendship and in business together. And sharing this passion in terms of empowering talent is something that we did not start with 11ish. We started it way back in Abu Dhabi media. And I think this was something that we did this disruption kind of in publishing, because the focus was always on luxury international brands. When we introduced, this spotlight on local talents, designers, it was Zahra Khalij the first to actually start doing that.
Okay.
So we started this way back, and we're still in this mission, and we love it actually.
Hello everyone and welcome backstage. We're here at the Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival. I've got two very exciting guests with me today, Ms. Soha Mikati and Ms. Hala Gergawi. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So thank you both so much for your time. I really appreciate it. So I just had the privilege of listening to your talk. Very, very interesting. I think you guys have a very different take on how we take brands, not just from here, and take them globally. Typically, as we were talking off camera, it's typically been the other way around. Everything comes from abroad, comes here, but now we're starting to see, listening to you guys, that things are starting to move in the other direction. But before we touch on 11ish and what you guys are doing, I want to take it a step back to what I was just talking about off camera. So you guys have been working together for 15 years, between ADM and then Tea Before Noon and now at 11ish. So I'd love to hear first the story of how this partnership and friendship was built. Who wants to go first?
So basically, we met during Abu Dhabi media. So Hala, she was the editor-in-chief of Zahra Khalij magazine. She was technically my boss. Yes.
A very friendly boss.
Yes. So we worked together for a while in Abu Dhabi media for like 9 years.
Yeah.
And we've built this friendship, I guess. We had this connection. We were very much aligned when it comes to business thoughts and, strategies. We enjoyed these discussions together. We created this comfort zone when it comes to work, and gradually it actually evolved to more than that, and a friendship, and now we're partners in business.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
how
was she as an employee?
As long as she shares my passion, I think we're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we have the same passion, and I think this is what connected us mainly. The same values as well, which is very, very important with friendship and business.
Yeah. So I'm happy you brought up the friendship and business part, because there's a famous saying that everyone says, don't work with your friends. Now, my perspective, I could be right or wrong. You guys are a case of when it's worked out, but we also know of a lot of cases where it hasn't. So when you guys decided to, I know you worked together at Tea Before Noon, like you were working together, and now you've co-founded a company together of 11ish. So what are the foundations or the discussions you guys had to have first to maintain that balance between the friendship and the business? Because I think when you start a business with a friend, those two areas, whether you like it, are going to cross over.
I think with our case, it's opposite, because
Exactly.
we started as colleagues.
Okay.
And then our friendship developed. I tried fighting with her a couple of times. Didn't work. She's really nice. So this is why it does not. Sometimes I do believe, and I always tell friends, guys, don't do business together.
Really, you agree with that?
Yeah, I do advise, don't do business together if you're friends. But for us, as I told you, it's completely different. We started off as colleagues, and then the friendship evolved since we share the same passion and values and thoughts and ideas.
Totally. I was going to say the same, actually, that we started as colleagues and then we discovered the friendship part at a later stage, and that's what I think allowed us to actually to sustain more in terms of friendship and in business together. And sharing this passion in terms of empowering talent is something that we did not start with 11ish. We started it way back in Abu Dhabi media, and I think this was something that we did this disruption kind of in publishing, because the focus was always on luxury international brands. When we introduced, this spotlight on local talents, designers, it was Zahra Al-Khalij the first to actually start doing that.
Okay.
So we started this way back, and we're still in this mission, and we love it actually. It's our passion.
Well, the fact that you guys have continued working together and you've co-founded 11ish, that passion clearly has carried through for both of you over, your careers. Interesting that you both say that the reason it works out the way it does is because you started as colleagues first, which is maybe you built a business/colleague relationship, like this is what you do well, this is what I do well, and then over time you get closer to people, that's how the friendship develops. So it's interesting that that's your take on it. Coming on to 11ish, now Tea Before Noon from my perspective seems to be the precursor to what 11ish is, because the vision of it was, correct me if I'm wrong please both of you, with Tea Before Noon, you're bringing luxury international brands to localize them to the region because that's what everyone's trying to get here, but no one knows how to do it. And then 11ish seems to be that next evolution of what Tea Before Noon is. So now does one business play into the other, or do you guys see them still as two separate entities?
Definitely, they're not separate. So for Tea Before Noon, since we do all these collaborations with local talents, it was a really amazing platform for these local talents to tell the story of the UAE and the culture through Tea Before Noon activations. So I think that was the start of realizing that there's an amazing pool of talents here in this region that requires really much more support and exposure, and this is why we came up with 11ish to actually be a dedicated platform for them.
Got you. Okay. So
we always try to fill the gap. I mean, even when we started Tea Before Noon, I was filling a gap that was there, as I mentioned, the lack of understanding to our culture and the consumer behavior. And then working with local talents, we felt the gap of not having a platform for these talents. And this is where the idea of 11ish came up.
Very interesting. So Tea Before Noon was kind of the foundation. You guys got exposed to all these talents that were around and so on, but you still felt that even with because it was a consulting, so you're telling them this is how you should do it, but when it sounds like when they went to do it, there wasn't a platform now like 11ish to actually take that message forward and take all the learnings that you guys have had. Would that be fair to say?
True. Yeah, 100%.
So what have you guys found? I'm curious, the luxury market, okay? Now, I think a lot of people have misconceptions about the luxury market, and I think it differs from how we consume luxury here in the Arab world compared to other Western markets. So would love to hear from both of you through this journey. What have you found to be the typical misconceptions let's focus on the region when it comes to luxury, maybe people looking from the outside in.
So the first, I think, misconception from the luxury brands is that the Arab lady profile is the same throughout all the markets, the Levant and the GCC.
That's a great point.
And I think this is the first thing that we try to create this awareness among the international brands, is that to educate them that no, this is not the case. There's really you need to segment the target audience here between GCC and Levant, and not even that, you need to go even to a deeper level and even do a further segmentation when it comes to the same market like UAE. You need to understand that the consumer in Abu Dhabi is totally different from Dubai, totally different from Sharjah. So, and this is where we started actually one of the first projects for Tea Before Noon were the focus groups. So we started conducting focus group for the international brands. So they start learning about this consumer, their shopping behavior, when they travel here in this market. So all these kind of insights were really amazing for the brands to, it was an awakening moment that yes, we need to start strategize differently for this region and be even more local for when it comes to our communications and marketing strategies.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Hala?
As Soha said, it's them seeing everyone the same, talking to the local consumers, to the consumers in the region in the same way. Even, when we started, they did not have marketing campaigns that are just for our region. So basically what brands used to do, the international campaign would go international even in our region. And this is completely a different story now. You see them working with regional influencers. You see them looking for collaborations and trying to, to create, to convince their HQs as well to collaborate more with our local talents and venues. So yeah, it's the perception over the years, over the past 10 years, has completely changed.
Completely changed, yeah.
Yes.
One more point actually, and this is something I've learned from Hala, is that even when it comes to sales, the way they sell it to the consumer, it's totally different here. So the brands, they were very commercially driven, even with their sales approach, their sales representative, how they talk to the consumer. And I think here Hala, she gave a great added value that you have to approach them completely different. They didn't know that this consumer, they're really driven by the storytelling of the brand, what's the heritage of the piece or the brand. So, and that was a really great shift for them in terms of training their salespeople and how to, approach the consumer, whether in the boutiques or during the events as well.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm so happy you guys touched on the localization aspect. So just to give you some context, I interviewed the CMO of Tim Hortons for the region 2 months ago on the AUD podcast, and we were talking about exactly what you're saying, the hyper-localization, the importance of not only the language, the caption, if I'm talking to Khubar, if I'm talking to Jeddah, if I'm talking to this, not even, what blew my mind was, it's not just the campaign that needs to be localized. The products have to be localized. These guys consume coffee this way, these guys eat donuts that way. So that just blew my mind on the granularity you need to go into to reach these markets and actually connect with people. Coming on to the collaborations, because that's the bloodline of what you guys do. Yeah. That's what you guys have built now. And I know you partner local brands with international and so on. When it comes to collaborations, if I came to you and guys, I want to collaborate with an international brand, me as Khaled and my brand, what are the types of questions that you're going to be asking me to fit that profile? How do you analyze, maybe Khaled would be a good fit for these guys, or what's your mindset when it comes to collaborations?
I think the way we do it is different. The way we do it is exactly the opposite, because all local talents, they want to collaborate with international brands.
Sure.
So we get requests, tens of requests every single day whenever I walk into a mall or having coffee in a restaurant, and I get talents coming up to me and they say we want to collaborate with the international, but it doesn't work this way. So the way we do it is we hunt talents.
Okay.
We look what they're doing. We look at their Instagram accounts. We look at their work. We attend exhibitions. We attend events where we see them. We see their products ourselves, and we see how they work and how they represent and tell their story. And this is where we come up with, this would be perfect for such a brand.
Okay.
So this is the way we do it. Yeah.
So you guys do a lot of the homework first on the local brand before you even consider who would that link to, or who would we put them towards?
Exactly, because who doesn't want to be associated with an international brand?
Yeah, absolutely.
True. Yeah. So basically, yes, it's the other way around. We also receive briefs from the international brands on what they're looking for to actually the messaging that they want to, emphasize on in this market. And this is where we come up with the ideas of collaboration. What kind of collaboration? It could be on a product design if the brand is flexible, because it's super hard to convince them on that.
Brand
but we did it.
Are very strict.
We did it with Renika Avila, which was amazing.
Wow.
We had actually designers competing over creating or designing the dream shoe of Renika Avila. And we had one designer who they flew to the factory in Venice. So we documented the whole journey, working on the prototype with the designer and launching it in this market through an event, and it was sold out in 1 week, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a limited edition. So, or it could be on event concept, or it could be on a gifting for the VIP clients. So it really depends on what the brand wants to achieve in this market, and based on that, we actually tailor the collaboration.
No, that makes a lot of sense that you get the brief and then you do that. But I think the point you made, Hala, of the importance of the homework that you guys do first, because also from your perspective, as 11ish and as a platform, there's a credibility that you also want to present. If we're bringing these guys to you, we want to make sure that this is a good partnership, because you win and then we win, and it's a addition to the brand and to the value that you guys are building. Now, so anything you like that?
I mean, we're very quiet on social media, but our eyes are wide open.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of people like that.
We work very low profile.
But that's how you find the gems, I think.
Yeah.
You know. So, Soha, I saw your interview on Dubai One recently. So you guys were, and you touched on this a moment ago, Hala. So the 4 things you look at when you're looking for like talent or a brand. So there's the story of the brand, the vision of the entrepreneur, quality and craftsmanship, and how unique it is. So I was thinking, I'm like, okay, what if I came to you guys and I have 2 out of the 4, or maybe 3 out of those 4? Where do you guys, from your experience, put the most weight out of those 4 points?
I would say creativity is the first. So we need to like your designs.
Okay.
And then we look into the quality of it,
okay.
The finishing, the fabric and all of that. And then we go to the brand story and history, if it's a new launch of a new brand or it's a brand that has more established. So we look at the consistency then, like how often do you make drops and do you do launches, how often do you take part in exhibitions. Sales also is very important for established brands. So, but I would start with creativity because that's the most thing that catch your eyes.
That's the unique thing, right?
Yes, that's what makes you special, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Your creations.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree with Soha. Sometimes, they do have stories, but they don't know how to tell the story.
Great
so that's
point, yeah.
also very important for them to be creative and not only have a story, but I don't know how to communicate it.
No, of course, yeah. And like you were saying in the talk as well, storytelling now has become, I don't know why, all of a sudden it's like I'm seeing it on LinkedIn, I'm having podcasts about it.
Very important.
It's become so much more important than it ever was before. Touching on the cultural aspect, because listening to your story with the Majlis and what you guys did in Josephine's Garden and how you converted that and like all these kind of things, I was starting to think, I'm like, it's so important. You can't do something like that and take it international if you don't have people from that place doing it, because that's how you're going to represent the culture effectively. So when you're looking to go international, is it about, we need, let's say it's a Saudi product, would it make sense that we need to have people from Saudi to make this campaign because that's the way it's going to hit? Or do you find that across the GCC, because there are some similarities culturally, you can pull in different people to do a campaign for a specific location?
Well, we had different, we have different case study in that. So we had successful ones where you have like an Emirati influencer. When I say influencer, like influential within the community of the right target audience. We had Manal Hamadi. She's a fashion designer, but we actually introduced her to Chomé brand, and she became the face of the brand in the region.
Okay.
So she was influential on a regional level. So they used Manal Hamadi on a regional level to introduce their collection for their events, for their campaigns, and it worked amazingly well. I mean, Chomé used to tell us that people get into the store in Saudi Arabia with screenshots of Manal Hamadi stacking Chomé bracelets, for example. It worked.
Yeah.
And other campaigns where the brand, they would love to feature different, profiles that are representing different markets, and this also works. So we had Vacheron, for example. They had one of not many campaign. But the purpose of the campaign is to highlight talents from different markets that are really unique. So it really depends as well on the messaging that the brand they want to reach. But it definitely works when you are collaborating with the right profile.
Yeah. So it sounds like the context of whatever you're trying to do is very important to determine what kind of talent you want for that kind of campaign, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with our expertise, I mean, we've gained great trust from the brands themselves. So they do hear us when we say, for example, we had a Gucci Majlis, but the interior was designed, it was in Dubai in Sheikh Rashid's venue, Majlis Ghurfat Al-Mashif, but the furniture was designed by a Saudi interior designer.
Okay.
So it was completely flexible. We like to tell the story that yes, from the Gulf, at the end we are representing the Gulf.
Yeah.
With the Cartier Majlis, I had in mind to have it 100% Emirati, because it was in a specific location, in a SEF location before it's actually being launched. And the storytelling that I had in mind, I wanted it to be 100% Emirati.
Okay.
So gladly, brands, they trust our vision and they trust our ideas, and that's how it works.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting, because listening, it's two different what blows my mind, guys, when it comes to marketing is what we're just talking about right now. Like, the context is so important, and that will dictate everything, your vision, the messaging, and so on. So you touched on Soha now. The most important thing you guys value out of those three things is the creativity. Now I'm gonna have to ask you guys about this question, but it's the debate. Data versus creativity. Okay. Now, as you said in the talk, brands typically from the West were very sales driven, data driven. They want to see that before we even look at the creative. But listening to you guys, now that has shifted. If I'm a designer and I launch a line, okay, some products do well, some products don't. But creatively, maybe some of these products that I made, like, I'm more proud of than these. How do you balance? I think you have to find the balance between creativity and data, but you don't want to focus too much on either, because I think you're fighting against each other. I think the data has to inform your creativity, or vice versa. So what would you guys say on the creativity data debate?
Definitely, there should be a balance. And this is something we always tell the designers. When they launch a collection that performed really well in terms of sales, it doesn't mean that the next collection is going to perform as good.
Exactly,
because it's a different creative approach.
True.
But it doesn't mean it's a failure for the brand in general. It's a learning curve for you to understand that this creative approach doesn't work in this market, and you need to shift or to, tailor better. So definitely it's a balance, and you need to understand your markets as well. So the designers need to understand, and when we exhibit a collection, for example, in Abu Dhabi, and it worked amazingly well, we take the same collection to Riyadh, for example, for another exhibition during the same season, and it doesn't perform. So again, that's a learning curve. You need to understand your designs, how do they work in different tastes, different markets.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
So it's interesting that you have to kind of also make a decision, I think, because the example you gave is great. Same season, same collection, did well here, didn't do well there. But branding for the brand, and maybe the next collection is a different design, that could be better. So I guess there's also a deeper level that you have to look at. Am I looking at this collection? I don't think it's going to hit, but brand-wise, long-term, this might be good. But right now, it might not hit. I think that's a decision as a designer you probably also have to make as well.
Yes, because they need to be consistent as well with their identity as a creative person.
Okay.
They cannot compromise on that. So they need to find a balance as well.
Yeah.
But when we also talk to designers, we tell them, like, we recruit brands for Saudi, we recruit brands for Doha and Abu Dhabi. I mean, we do have different outlets, and we know as Soha said, for every outlet what works. So we still have brands on board, but they work for different places,
for different
locations.
And listening to you guys, I'm learning a lot here, by the way. So this makes a lot of sense to me now. We talked about markets and how they're very segmented, different messaging, different so on. Now, reflecting over the last 4 years, even bringing tea before noon into the conversation, what markets have you seen perform the best for you? And if you figured that out, have you figured out why that is the case?
So I believe Abu Dhabi worked best. Why? I can't tell you. Again, my secret recipe.
Yeah, that's fine. That's and keep it a secret. I don't want any other things. That's fine. Anything to add on that aspect?
No, I totally agree. It's Abu Dhabi, and data says the same thing. So
the proof is there.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, as a business, you guys are an e-commerce platform, of course. AI is coming into the equation, of course. Everyone wants to talk about AI and so on. Now, I can see AI benefit your business a lot from an automation perspective, and like maybe data and gathering and putting things together. But where do you guys see, I guess, over the next 5 years, the biggest challenge for e-commerce businesses or luxury e-commerce businesses in the Middle East? I don't know, so I'm curious to see where do you guys see the roadblocks as we move forward? I
would say social media, how they're evolving, because they're introducing e-commerce to their experiences as well. Yeah,
you can shop on TikTok now, Instagram, Facebook.
Exactly. So it's kind of that's a challenge on e-commerce platform, on how you're going to position yourself again, what added value you're bringing, and that, I would say, is curation. So your strength needs to be in curating the collections, because now the designers, they have their own social presence. They can connect to the customer directly. They can sell directly. So we need to find the edge, which I believe is curation, but then it might be wrong. I don't know.
But yeah, that's a fair point.
But yeah, so yeah, I can see this as an obstacle that is coming your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's social media.
Yeah, that's what's going to be the defining factor, it seems, over the next couple of years.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So so what's interesting is now we have so much choice. There's endless amounts of choice, online, social media, website, whatever. So the point you mentioned, Soha, on curation is very important, because as a consumer, I want my life to be as easy as possible. I want to come here and get everything. So whoever can package that in the right way is probably the one who's going to, I think, succeed over the next couple of years. Looking into the community you guys have built, because with the collaborators, you've also, I think, created a community of talent and from the people from the region as well. How have you found the experience of building and fostering that community, and what's the impact, I think, probably not on a business perspective, but on a brand perspective, how has that benefited you guys develop?
I think, again, the trust that we built within our community.
True. So the trust, and we actually also, I would say, the activations that we do, they talk so much to the community here. They resonate with the community. So, and I think the designers, they love it. So we're engaging with them through activations concept that do resonate with them. We come up with pop-ups concepts that are very Emirati, from the naming, and I have to give credit for it, Hala, and some of the friends of the brand is actually that they give us ideas, they inspire us in terms of the naming, the concept, what experience it should be. So we do create a lot of localized experiences, like to give you an example, a pop-up that is called Mkhawar Lounge, for example, or Fsus Edits, or so these things, they talk so much to the Emirati and to the local audience.
Even the concept of bringing back Haq al-Layla.
Yeah.
Gergawi, some countries call it. We even enforced it in a way that the government, like other governmental cultural entities, started to do it after us.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
So we brought it back, and it's a beautiful. Every year we make it longer. It used to be it's one day. It's a one-day event, but because of the demand, this year we're doing it for 3 days.
Amazing.
But we have to mention the minipreneurs market,
of course,
because this is a totally an activation to engage the community. It's not something that is gonna be a benefit for 11ish as a business, but it's purely just to engage the community. So we've actually launched the minipreneurs market. This is the 4th edition that we're planning now for Haq al-Layla, where the kids of our community, they take part with their own business concept, and they exhibit in our venue. So it's part of empowering. We always go back to the same message and mission, which is empowering talents, and now we're kind of empowering kids on how to become business leaders or business people when they grow up, and to really expose them to the real world kind of.
And it's all very related, because the venue we have currently in partnership with Dubai Culture, but it has been our venue for 4 years now. It's Sheikh Rashid's Oasis, so Sheikh Majlis Ghurfat Shif, which is a summer house that was built for Sheikh Rashid by his mother in 1950.
Wow.
And it has a beautiful story, and I mean the vibes and the venue is beautiful and filled with palm trees, and it was one of the closest places to Sheikh Rashid's heart, where even the idea of the Jebel Ali airport developed there.
No way.
So he used to love sitting there with his advisors and talk business. So the idea of Tijjar al-Ghurayfa al-Saghar, which is al-Ghurayfa minipreneurs, came because Sheikh Rashid always encouraged business, and he was a businessman himself. And this is why it's beautiful to see lovely kids, and you see them very passionate, and they take it very seriously. So you see the last hour of the minipreneurs market, they go on promotions and sales and wholesale, and wholesale prices. Yeah,
they're expecting 11ish to actually take everything as wholesale.
But it's beautiful, and it became a community. And I was during the summer I was in London in Hyde Park, and I see kids running to me. I was like, no, I'm not Mama Anisa, but when are you doing the next one? So it was really nice.
Well, that's such a beautiful initiative that you guys are doing. I can see the way you guys smile and talk about it. It feels a very close project to heart. Not just that, but everything you guys are doing. So I want to commend you both for the amazing work you guys have done.
Thank you.
Last question, guys, because just to round off, we are here at the Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival. Now, Hala, I've known you. I know you have said your network is your net worth, and we are here, and there's thousands of people here.
Yes.
Now, I'm just going to speak from my personal experience. Networking is I think there's an art to it. There really is an art to how you do it and how you bring it across. You put me one-on-one with someone, easy. You put me with like a million people, I'm like, in the small talk and so on. So if you guys had any advice for people that are here or entrepreneurs that need to attend these kind of events, what advice are you going to give them when it comes to the networking aspect?
So funny enough, when I finished my session just now, a lady came to me and asked me, she said, I'm trying to do what you're doing, but the thing is when I talk to people, I lose my voice. I told her, then stop talking. Listen to people. Listen, become a listener until you feel you have enough things to talk about.
Sure.
When I talk, I mention a lot of the stories that I hear. Even when we discuss ideas, Suha and I always tell her, I share with her stories that I hear from my community, my friends, the majlises that I attend. So I think listening is more important than talking.
Yeah.
I mean, you're building content inside.
Exactly.
You know?
No, absolutely, of course.
Yeah, and this is how you build a network, when you have enough data or interesting topics to talk about and not just talk.
And that's how you can add the value once you have all that content.
Exactly.
Right?
Sometimes one sentence could be, enough than just talking for 10 minutes and repeating yourself.
Very true. Very true. So, anything to add on the networking aspect?
So I'm very bad at it, to be honest.
Yes, she is very bad, and I struggle with her.
True story. So I always favor to be the behind the scenes, doing all the work, and
and it took me 10 years to realize that and to accept it.
Yeah, it took her a while to actually to accept it. But it's a character, to be honest. Yeah. But once I started 11ish, I feel like, no, this is very crucial for the success of your business.
Yeah.
And you only learn when you network and when you meet other people. So definitely it's super important. It might be hard for some people like me to actually open up and have these conversations. But for me, this is me. If it's not a meaningful conversation, I cannot do it. That I'm too serious.
No, fair enough.
But it's very crucial. Yeah. And you always need to step out of your comfort zone.
For sure.
And then you would discover, the magic behind it. And I think being part of these conferences is very important. And whoever attends, don't be overwhelmed with all the people and the keynotes that are happening and all the stands. Just do your research. Check whoever is interesting for you that makes sense and bring added value for your business or for your studies, whatever, because we met even students, and do approach them.
Yeah.
So it cannot be everyone and everything at the same
course.
time. So you just need to do your research before.
Guys, that's some great tips from Hala. Listen before you talk. And from Soha, get out of your comfort zone and go do it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival Backstage Podcast. I've had a blast talking to you. I've really learned so much. Alf Mabruk on what you guys are doing with 11ish. It's a really beautiful project and grassroots. And I guess we will see you guys next time. And stay tuned for what they got coming up. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
guys.
Thank you.
It was really fun.